Welcome back to Out of Time Productions E3 2012 coverage, now with 33% more fiber. I'm your host, Christopher Lowell.
I'm Johnny Golia.
I'm Ji and Kim.
And today we're going to be talking about Nintendo's conference. A lot of focus on the Wii U, and a lot of interesting things with the 3DS, although not sure technically impressive. Ji, and this one's yours.
I'm gonna talk about Nintendo Wii U. Last year they did talk about Wii U as like a kind of a demo of how it functions. Now this year they actually are talking about fully about how it works. And regarding the Wii U's system, they totally did say that the Wii U has a tablet. It works with a TV. It works like TV remote. It works like a drawing pad. It also works on like a regular online community like iPad and the Galaxy Tab. So. Now the problem about the Wii U's biggest concern I had was the online community, where the President Iwata did mention that like anything that people post regarding inappropriate stuff will be monitored within 20 to 30 minutes, and then it will be deleted and you'll be in trouble. And he clearly made a comment saying, we Nintendo will be watching every members of how they'll be posting.
Now, is this monitoring going to be automated, or is an actual human going to be looking at this?
I think it's probably going to be human looking at the post. Like they won't know who's looking, but they will be watching your every footsteps probably.
Mm-hmm.
The question with that is, how is that going to impact Nintendo's market with regards to the monitoring? I mean, Xbox Live and PSN don't have any monitoring whatsoever, but anybody who's ever played on Xbox Live, particularly a first-person shooter like Call of Duty, you've got 12-year-olds who are up past their bedtime swearing at your mother. And that's not a pleasant experience for adults to be dealing with. Nintendo is taking the entire opposite approach, and they're going to strangle everything. And I think this is, again, part of Nintendo's kid-friendly reputation.
It is, but also you have to expect that like everything that you say privately with your friend, and then suddenly when those security say, "Oh, you've been saying inappropriate things. We've been watching you do this." That's beyond the privacy, and it just kind of scares people away. Like how does it feel like being monitored by all these like?
Yeah, I think there's a point where it gets a little ridiculous, and I think we're getting to that point. Nintendo is just being a little too overprotective here, I think.
Well, anyways, the Wii U, the price is going to be regular price, almost like other new generation consoles. People estimated that it might be $299 for the regular console. We don't know how much the remote, like the controller is going to be.
It's going to probably be like $100, I'm guessing.
$100 probably.
Yeah.
I'm worried about that, because if that's not included in a major release bundle, even if they have to put them together and charge the same price, $400, if they don't bundle that tablet with the console, it's not going to take off.
It's not going to take off.
It's really not.
Like the thing is that Iwata did say that they used to put N64, GameCube, and Wii as a family console. Now they're trying to approach it into the online community console, where your dad wants to watch Super Bowl and changes your channel, but you can play it on your remote or privately. That kind of changes to the perspective of as we're not allowing you to play family consoles anymore. We are allowing you to play whatever the heck you want.
Moving the processing from a tablet type of a controller to a full-on console is going to allow that tablet to have a lot more power, but you're really doing a lot to control it.
Definitely.
Not control it in the sense of you're using a controller, but the fact, like you said, you can watch a football game on the television and then have your Wii U tablet connected to the console, and you can still play your game there. I'm not sure that's really harnessing the whole power of the Wii U. Why not just get a handheld? And again, I did say it's driven by the consoles, where there's more hardware behind it.
Well, the handheld actually has some limits when it comes to high definition graphics. This tablet actually holds up a really good type of graphics, where it actually functions like the TV itself and most of the iPad graphics these days. Like, it's better than the Vita, apparently, according to the specs, and I think it might have some promising regarding that. The only downside about the Wii U, in my opinion, was that as a single, like, functions just like the Blu-ray disc, except it's a single layer and it is region locked console again.
Yeah.
And we've been having troubles with the 3DS last time where people wanted to play imported games and they weren't able to and we're gonna expect another problem with the imported games and everyone's gonna complain.
The last time Nintendo had a console with no region lock, I believe, was the Game Boy Advance.
Well, the Wii has
No,
region
well,
lock.
yeah.
No, I mean without a region lock.
Oh, without.
Without a region lock, I remember having...
The DS doesn't.
The
have
DS
region
doesn't have one
The
either.
DS does not have region lock
No.
either. Okay, so now I look like an idiot. But so if the DS, the Game Boy Advance, all that does not have region lock, their consoles, their major television consoles do.
Yeah.
I think the handhelds, it's too much of a pain to import region locking, particularly because to be done right, it's got to be done in hardware rather than in software, because we can see how fast you can get past a software check. Thank you, Sony's swap magic. A lot of us did have PS2s where you remove the little front disc cover and you just pull the tray out and don't tell the console about it, and you bypass the software check.
Yep.
So they're moving towards hardware region locking.
Yeah, that's the saddest part. I mean, I think they learned something from the Nintendo Wii where people did just make a new homebrew of their own and then hack their system, and I guess they learned it from saying, oh, we should prevent a more anti-piracy act. There
Is
has
it really
been
anti-piracy though with region locking? Isn't that really to make it so that they can control pricing in different countries? I mean, I don't think it's an anti-piracy measure.
I mean, 3DS has a lot of problem about putting R4 or
Other homebrew systems
other
on
homebrew
it.
system.
Right.
The Wii was able to pretty much boot any OS you could throw on it. It was a matter of being able to get a rootkit in there, and then it was yours. And I really want to think that Nintendo's not against region locking; they're against homebrewing.
Okay, and now we're gonna talk about another Nintendo Wii's usual franchise called Wii U Fit. It's another new exercise program.
Oh, yay. We get another balance board. We get another overpriced accessory that gets used in exactly one game. Or are we
This
going
time,
to
are
see...
we gonna swing that tablet controller around to do exercise? That's another question for me.
Yes, because I'm going to do push-ups with a tablet controller in my hands. We saw what happened when people were flailing a Wiimote around. We've had broken televisions, smashed walls, smashed Wii remotes, unconscious children. There was actually one report of a dog being struck in the head and being knocked unconscious by a Wii remote, who had to be taken to an animal emergency care center and revived. So Wii has proven that their motion control is seriously dangerous, and I don't think motion control and the tablet go together.
I think it's just more of Nintendo.
Well, I think the amount of motion control you're going to be doing with the tablet is much less in comparison to the Wii remote. You're not going to be swinging the tablet controller around. You may be making subtle motions with it, but you're not going to be doing bowling with it. So I don't think their concern about it being thrown into TVs and dogs is as high as it was with the Wii remote.
That gives Nintendogs an entirely new spin, by the way. The concept of plugging your dog into your tablet is... I know I won't do that with my iPad or my Windows Phone or any other mobile device I own.
Yeah.
Those stay firmly away from the dog.
Okay, now we're going on to the games for the Nintendo Wii U. Let's start with the Mario Brothers U. I mean, to me, I think that's a very first approach that every console has to start off somewhere, and I think Mario Brothers always has been the first game to start.
It's been since the NES.
Yeah.
NES launch title, Super Mario Brothers, going all the way through to the Wii. Now, Mario Galaxy wasn't available for the Wii on launch.
Yeah, not for
but
a
it was
while.
pretty close.
It was pretty close, yeah.
It was
And
within a
then-
few months,
Well, don't forget GameCube. How long
Sunshine.
was it until Sunshine came out?
about a year.
I mean, I know Luigi's Mansion came before that, but do you count that as a Mario game?
In the same way,
In some way, I guess.
in the same vein. I mean, it's
Yeah.
it's a Mario themed
Mario
platformer.
franchise, yeah.
It's to a perspective, yes.
Yeah.
And now the next one, the biggest biggest game that people actually were looking forward to was actually Pikmin 3.
Pikmin 3, yes, we haven't seen this one since the GameCube.
Yeah, I mean, like when Shigeru Miyamoto was announcing this during the conference, people were like roaring with cheer.
They were standing up, and Shigeru had this. He had this little plush Pikmin he was waving around.
Yeah, he was, and then he said, "Spike."
Yeah, he started throwing it into the audience. He did like a fake football throw into the audience, and then he hit it behind his back or something.
Yeah.
It was like
It was kind of funny, actually.
And you have no idea how many fans, if you haven't watched this clip of Miyamoto playing with this little Pikmin and faking a throw into the audience, you see about 7 or 8 rows back, people are freaking out looking for it. That's how excited people were for this game.
They were waiting. They really were waiting for it. Like, most of the Wii games have been really disappointing, and they weren't like giving a lot of audience taste right there. And then the Pikmin 3 came out, and Nintendo's trying to get their audience back, and I think that's a very good approach.
This is them really moving sequels onto the Wii in a way that wasn't done before. A lot of the focus on the Wii was new games so we can use the motion control, new games so we can use the remote, and now for the Wii U, new games so we can use this tablet controller. And moving an old franchise that had a lot of success on GameCube to the Wii U might be a nice strategy for them to pull in people who are skeptical about all the new hardware.
Alright, so continuing on, Nintendo has been having more games such as Epic Mickey 2 and Paper Mario and some other games that was imported from other consoles, such as Batman Arkham City Armored Edition and Mass Effect 3.
Oh yay, Mass Effect 3.
Now, I wanted to talk about this. Mass Effect 3. Like, out of all those games for Nintendo, I'm not sure why they had to bring Mass Effect 3.
It just seems weird, because Mass Effect 1 and 2 were never on a Nintendo system, so why are we suddenly putting Mass Effect 3 on a Nintendo system?
One of their big pushes in the Mass Effect series was for the continuity between the games, and the importance of creating a Commander Shepard of your own in Mass Effect 1, carrying it all the way through the trilogy.
Which didn't matter in the end.
I just think that they just like wasted on money for a better game when they didn't have to put this game into the Nintendo Wii, really.
I think again this is one of their attempts to attract a lot of the skeptics. The Wii U seems very alien because of the tablet controller and the basically rehashing of the Wiimote controller type of things, and people who are going to be averse to this random control method. I think their pushing of the classic controller or the Pro controller or whatever it was that they called it looks more like a traditional, console controller. Mm-hmm. It honestly looks like a Sony PlayStation controller to me. They moved a couple of buttons around and renamed it, and the funny thing about it now is that with Sony, the X button's on the bottom, with Microsoft, the X button's on the left, and with Nintendo, it's on the top. So when a game tells me to press X, I have to look down.
Yeah.
Now, we're continuing on to the one of the most interesting thing that I've seen so far, like using 2 tablets at the same time, which would be Rayman Legends.
Nintendo really never revealed that the console can handle 2 tablets last year when they were talking about it, and there was no news of it leading up to this. But with Rayman Legends showcasing the 2 tablets, as well as other players using the Wiimotes to assist you in play, that's something they never bothered to talk about, and it was a really big reveal.
Yeah, actually, in fact, when they announced the Wii U last year, I think Iwata, after the conference, did mention to some press members that it would only support 1 tablet, and that was not met with a good reaction. So the fact that it's going to support 2 now, that's obviously much better. That opens up a world of possibilities.
With Rayman Legends in particular, it allows 2 people to be doing the sort of platforming section of the game at the same time. People on the Wiimotes are doing various assisting tasks. But the 2 tablets thing alone, to step away from the Rayman discussion for a moment, the 2 tablets thing alone now allows hidden information games. It now allows 2 players to be doing maybe collaborative drawing type of thing. Once you step away from one person with the tablet in control to 2 people being able to play in parallel with them, you've opened up a whole other box of games you couldn't even think about before.
Exactly. Yeah. I think that's a very good way to start, the Wii U to start up their franchise, I think. Anyways, the next last thing that I wanted to talk about was the 3DS, Luigi's Mansion, and Paper Mario actually.
Paper Mario, now, is this going to be another platformer type, or is this going to be like Thousand Year Door role-playing game?
I think it's a role playing game this time for sure. I think apparently there was not a lot of good reviews regarding Super Paper Mario for Nintendo Wii, and they said, why can't you just make it into an RPG game like you used to? So when I saw the couple of gameplays regarding the 3DS Paper Mario, it seemed like it went back to where the RPG was used to be.
I'm still bitter that they never made a proper sequel to Mario RPG.
That is one of the complaints. I mean, yes, that was made by Square Enix, and Square Enix moved to Sony, and then became independent after 1996. But Paper Mario's RPG series is it's a respectable entry.
Yeah, I know people
for
like
Mario. The reason I'm curious about the whole platforming bit is Super Paper Mario. That's great. What does paper add to this Mario platforming system?
Yeah.
The Mario Brothers has always been about platforming, has always been action games. What does the addition of paper, besides paper cuts, bring to the series?
I think it's just creative, like they'd never seen such things before.
Yeah, I mean, there were a couple of interesting things they had you do in the overworld sections of the Paper Mario RPG, but
it's like kind of a storyboard in ways, and
it is. I mean, going back to even Yoshi's Story on the N64 had that storybook feel.
Yeah.
Are they trying to recapture that art style?
Yeah, they probably are. I mean, like, for me, when I play Paper Mario, I just think that those are really cute and creative, to my opinions. I've always enjoyed Paper Mario series, and I'm looking forward to this for the 3DS.
Okay.
And the last part of about the 3DS, the biggest thing is the theatrhythm for Final Fantasy, which we'll be going over with the Square Enix, which is going to be talked by John pretty soon.
Theatrhythm. That is in the Square Enix tradition of mashing two names together and hoping it makes something. At least it's somewhat in English. I mean, we've had a lot of Square Enix titles with funny names before, but Theatrhythm. This sounds like a bad combination of Elite Beat Agents and, I don't know, Final Fantasy VI's opera scene?
Well, any name can be better than Bravely Default. That's one of the names that Square Enix has announced. It's an upcoming RPG.
Bravely Default?
Bravely Default.
Bravely Default. You go where no man has gone before in forfeiting a tournament. Bravely Default. You set the options, but then look at them and decide they're okay, and do it with confidence. Bravely Default. You walk into a bank with pride as you hand over the deed to your home. Bravely Default. I'm coming up with so many concepts for this name. I just have no idea what it's going to be. Why would...
I think they just lost their ideas of titles these days.
Yeah, they just look up two random words in the dictionary and make that the name. But
I could eat alphabet soup and shit a better title than that. It's Bravely Default.
So back to Theatrhythm though. I think this looks like a really cool game, and I would like to play it. My only problem is it's on the 3DS. And I'm really just not excited about the 3DS. I mean,
the headache machine.
Yeah, I'm not a 3D guy. I know you can turn the 3D off, but even then, there's really not much about the system that makes me want to get it, other than this game.
I think it's not more of the 3D. I think it's more of the song that they've been listening from, the very first Final Fantasy.
Oh, I know.
13, and it goes nostalgia kind of thing.
That's not the reason. Believe me, the 3D is not the reason I want to buy any game. The reason I would buy this game is because of the Final Fantasy music composed by Nobuo Uematsu. And I've just been such a big fan of his music, and I would love to play this game, but I'm not going to buy a 3DS just for it. If it came out on the PSP, or maybe, no, probably not. Even if it came on the Vita, I wouldn't buy a Vita just for that either.
According to the Theatrhythm, during the conference, they did say that they want to make more newer franchise such as Star Ocean musics and Chrono Trigger and Chrono Cross.
That would be cool
for 3DS. And
so is this going to get into some sort of? Are we going into some sort of bizarre rock band territory, but for
RPGs
or classic mostly, Japanese games? I mean,
I'm fine with that.
Are we going to see? Are we going to see these mobile consoles starting getting DLC? Are they really moving towards a Rock Band model of DLC on handhelds? Because I know that was really big when they put Rock Band on the consoles. But if they're making a music game, and they want to include other series in it, are we really moving towards the mobile DLC, if you will?
I don't think so. Like, I mean, Rock Band itself is a different kind, in my opinion. It might be, the elite beat agents in a DLC, in my opinion, in this kind of case.
Yeah, but it really seems like for them to release a theater rhythm for each of their series, like a Final Fantasy or a Star Ocean or each
Chrono
one of
Trigger,
the Chrono
yeah.
Trigger,
Chrono
or
Trigger,
the
yeah.
Chrono series, even if you combine the two games,
I think in this kind of case, they'll, because there's so many songs, they'll have to bring it into the small game packs every time.
Yeah, are we looking at memory limitations is the question.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I know a lot of the Bimani series games by Konami on the consoles had each edition on a separate disc with about 90 songs because of memory limitations.
Well,
But
there's
I feel like
expandable
this-
memory on these consoles. I mean, you can put an SD card in a...
Sure.
And I know you can do it in a DSi. Can you do it on a 3DS?
3DS does have a memory card. So
Yeah.
Yes.
I feel like the multiple games would be a cash grab for them. That is my main concern why they wouldn't do it via DLC kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Although, given what people are willing to pay these days, I'm not sure is the price point on a new game is $40 whatever for these handhelds. You can get away with releasing songs for $1 or $2 a piece. You can milk that for just as much. But the memory limitations might be the real concern here. The other thing we want to talk about for Nintendo was...
we wanted to talk about Nintendo Land. That is
Yeah.
an inheritance from Second Life and also Sony Home program.
PlayStation Home.
Yeah.
PlayStation
It's
Home.
their answer to PlayStation Home, except nobody cared about that either. So...
It's their next iteration of the Wii Sports kind of tech demo, in that they used Wii Sports for the Wii to show you how to use the controllers, how to use the console. And when they included Wii Sports Resort, and Wii Play, and Wii Music, and Wii Make Bad Music, and oh God, why am I waving this thing around like a baton? I look like an idiot, not like Dvorak. It's a way to teach people to use the controls, and it's a way to introduce them to little mini games. But I'm not convinced that it's going to work as well and as elegantly as Wii Sports did.
And honestly, the first time I remember PlayStation Home, when I first used it before, no one was really online. No one really uses it, and I don't expect the same for Nintendo Land.
Yeah, I mean, and also, Nintendo Land is being branded as a virtual Nintendo amusement park. Correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't the main thrill of going to an amusement park is actually being there and going on rides and stuff? I can't help but really want an actual Nintendo amusement park when I hear about Nintendo Land. Just build an actual amusement park. Don't give me this virtual shit.
I think they should just...
I know it might not be financially feasible for them to do so, but it seems like so much better of an idea. Don't give me this crap.
They should have just made a Roller Coaster Tycoon instead.
Yeah,
Roller Coaster
yeah.
Tycoon Nintendo Edition. Now where you can fire people off of the tracks and take off Mario's head. Because who did anything in Roller Coaster Tycoon but build things that would make OSHA cringe?
Yeah, it just seems very silly to me. I mean, like I said, it's their answer to PlayStation Home, but nobody cared about that either. So what are they doing?
This is part of their push to build the whole big online community, though. I mean, with the tablet, yes, you can draw stuff and send it to your friends. And, with the iPhone game Draw Something, we saw how well that worked out. Nintendo's policing. I can't even send dicks to my friends anymore. It's not like I'm posting them online, but Nintendo's going to police my dick shipments between me and my friends. How is that going to be any sort of online community? I can send dicks on Xbox Live if I want. I mean, Nintendo's trying to create an online community because their whole friend codes thing with the Wii really was a complete wash. Because nobody could connect to each other. I don't want to have to give something the length of a credit card number to one of my friends in order to be able to play a single game with them. It's really obnoxious.
It'll be rather called as like a Nintendo. We will be always watching you.
Yeah.
Big Brother Nintendo. So that's really it for Nintendo's Wii U. The online offerings look interesting, although again, as we have said, the panel is not totally convinced of the value of Nintendo Land in this whole thing.
Yeah. I mean, I think the Wii U shows promise. Last year, I really raved about how impressed I was with it. I'm still pretty impressed with it. I think it has a great room for opportunity. Just the whole concept of having a second screen that just one player sees is pretty cool. And now that it supports 2 of the Wii U controllers, it's even more awesome. So I think it's going to take off. I'm probably still going to buy it when it comes out. We didn't get any release date information or price information.
No, not so far now. They expect to announce it during the Tokyo Game Show.
Yeah. I don't know. Did you guys think that maybe they announced the Wii U a bit too early?
I really think that announcing it that early wasn't necessarily a mistake.
Mm-hmm.
They could have talked about it a little bit last year, but to show it off as if it was already a done product.
Yeah.
I mean, we expect to see the Wii U by holiday this year.
Right.
We expect possibly a September October release, as most consoles that are looking to set themselves up for the holiday season do.
I think, in my opinion, I don't think Wii U were announcing this too early, because they had been planning this 3 years ago, saying that they need to start a new project after Wii, and it's a huge change from the Nintendo Wii itself, and also I think I was mostly impressed about the graphics and how the gaming has changed from the Wii itself.
Yeah, I mean, the graphics are nice. It's great to see Nintendo finally delving into HD territory, which is something they've been way behind in.
Yeah, the Wii only supporting 480p was a really a questionable move on Nintendo's part. I don't want to say bad, but I do want to say
it
bad.
set them back. Yeah,
it did really set them back.
Because once the novelty of the Wii wore off, nobody really saw any, never had any incentive to get the Wii, and the sales have been affected because of that.
The only thing that was games with only motion control, where only motion control would make sense.
Yeah.
A lot of these sports games are nice and innovative. You had games like Trauma Center, where if you weren't using a pointer like that, it would have been absolutely impossible to control the game.
Right.
But I think the Wii U strength is really going to be use the unique control method you've presented to make yourself unique. Don't be just another console where I sit down, I grab a controller, and I play the same games.
I agree the same.
That's it for Nintendo.